Well, welcome everybody. This is Undisputed with Clay and Brenton, where pretty much anything we can say could probably be disputed. But this week, maybe it won't be. We have a really good show. We've got a couple topics we want to cover. We're going to try to recap Sunday's race. I think we'll have Clay talk about that one and give us his feedback on that. We have the fight that broke out, Daniel Suarez, Ross Chastain, and then we have the infield at Talladega. What's up with that? So let's get this show started. Clay, Sunday. What do we have? What do we got?
Nothing.
Right? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, but I think the most exciting thing that happened this past weekend was probably the fight on Friday between Daniel Suarez and Michael McDowell.
It was Michael McDowell. My bad, it's Michael McDowell. I was like, I knew that name was wrong. My bad.
But yeah, I saw that and I was like, all right, we're going to have a good weekend. And then it sucked. I think, did Kyle Busch win everything but stage one?
Yeah, he got Blaney was pole, Blaney was stage one, and then Kyle was stage two and winner.
Right.
So,
and I mean, yay for Kyle. I like Kyle. He deserved to win the race, but I mean, that was it.
It was. It wasn't like it was Vegas where he hard charged from the back. Right. That was clearly a dominant race by Blaney. I don't really know what his crew chief was calling to say, conserve fuel. I don't know what the deal was because Busch totally got there. Truex got there.
Right.
And I don't know if that was Blaney just trying to play the game smarter, but there was that. It didn't quite facilitate out to. I think everybody wants to see Blaney win. I would love to see Blaney win. I'm a Blaney fan too, but this week I was happy with the winner. It's just that I don't know if NASCAR fans can be pleased at this point. Like, I think we all want a different winner, but we all don't know how we want that winner to get there. So
far, the racing has been as bad, if not worse, than last year. I'm hopeful that maybe with a little fine tuning it can get better, but so far it's just been horrible. And I will say there was a little more action involved this week. I mean, there were a couple, crashes.
Sure.
One actually was kind of cool with my man Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
He had that loose right front tire, and when they showed it in slow-mo, it was just like that.
Yeah, that didn't even look like it was attached, man. That was nuts.
It was crazy. That was impressive that he held on to it as long as he did.
That was impeccable car control. Impeccable.
So that was interesting. I mean, there were a few interesting points to the day, but overall, just more of the same.
Yeah.
BS. And I want to see more. I definitely want to see more. And going into Fontana, which is one of my favorite tracks, is if they can't make something happen there, then I'm starting to have a bleak outlook on the rest of the season because we've been to some really good tracks here lately. Obviously Daytona, Atlanta is usually pretty good. Las Vegas is great, and with the new Aero package, it was supposed to, it was advertised as, going to be this great new, revelation of the sport, and if anything, they've made it worse. So
yeah.
I'm interested to see how Fontana goes. If it is interesting, then it still held our attention, and I think there's something to be, could be something worthwhile. Otherwise, it's not looking good. So, I will say I was happy to see a little passion come out last Friday with the fight.
Absolutely.
Fights are kind of what make the world go round when it comes to sports.
Right.
Which Fontana has a interesting history with fights. But remember back in 2013, it was one of the more famous wrecks / fights basically Joey Logano and the entire field.
Which tends to be Joey Logano versus the world all the time. So
right. I mean, that was, I don't think you could have written a better story that week. Coming from a week before at Bristol where Denny Hamlin kind of put Joey Logano on the wall and they had a little fuffle about it. And then, last couple laps of the race at Fontana the following week, Joey and Denny seem to find each other again, and all hell breaks loose. And then Joey and Stewart also get into it, which was really funny, actually.
Sure.
So, actually, we're gonna go ahead and put that clip in here and let you guys take a look at that and kind of relive some of that madness.
Gordon slipped up in turn 2 and Logano got right alongside him but could go no further, and coming off 4, Logano jumps up in the groove right in front of Denny Hamlin and wait for it, pow.
What did we say when we were watching this? If he doesn't move Jeff Gordon, somebody's going to move him.
And that's exactly what happened with his ex-teammate from Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin, in the 11.
But Larry, you see that little tap and how absolutely on the edge these cars are?
All right, we've had some pit stops under this caution, Krista.
Live in Bristol, Tennessee, moments ago, post-race, that's Joey Logano. Remember, who got bumped by Denny Hamlin going over to Hamlin's car and wanting to talk with Denny about it. You see the crew from the Joe Gibbs team. They were former Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. And Michael Waltrip, you said that Logano wouldn't take the apology over the radio lightly, and the pushing is coming to shoving here.
Yeah, and we can see what happened. Joey Logano pulled up in front of Denny.
A lot of conversation a couple weeks ago after Phoenix on Twitter between yourself and Joey. Was this a carryover, what took place today?
No, it didn't have anything to do with that. Really, got to control your car, and he slid up into me, and really he would have been in the garage with no radiator in it had I not checked up twice. So, I just, I meant to run into him, didn't mean to spin him out, but, his day was fine. He still had a bad day anyway for whatever reason. So, it's just we finished bad. He finished bad. It's, it's even.
What did he say inside the car?
He said he was coming for me. So I usually don't see him, so it's usually not a factor.
All right, thanks, Denny. Chris?
Wow, a shot. Well, in California next Sunday, we'll see if Logano can catch up with Hamlin, who led the most laps.
Kyle Busch is 1 second back. Earnhardt 2.5. Carl Edwards is 2 back.
Hamlin is there, boys. He's there. He's stalking him. I believe Hamlin's a skosh better.
It seems like he has a bit of an advantage down in turn 1 and 2.
Teammates last year, rivals this year. Friends, maybe never. But Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin are going to settle this right now.
Well, Hamlin cut him some slack. He had a run on him. Oh, Hamlin. Joey got loose. He got a little sideways off the floor.
There you go.
Hamlin gave him a shot. Moment to go.
Outside, barely. Outside.
Hamlin there. Logano to the bottom, trying to hold his ground.
That's going to be tough, though. But he's been running good on the bottom. If he can just clear Hamlin right there.
No way. He's going to lose his momentum. They're going to touch hard. Are they going to make it?
Neck and neck.
Down the back, side by side.
Kyle Busch closing in.
Watch out for the third place car, Kyle Busch. He's looking.
Hamlin edges ahead. They touch. They touch, and here comes Kyle. Hamlin, Logano on the ball. Hamlin spins down the racetrack, and Kyle Busch wins in California.
I thought they'd be nice to each other. They weren't. Hard impact on the 11 car, head on. I don't like the looks of that.
Hard hit to the inside wall for Hamlin. A bounce off the outside wall for Logano, and it ends in a shower of sparks.
I am not surprised. I was hoping that wouldn't happen, but I'm not surprised.
So, Brenton, after watching that video, what do you think of, the way NASCAR has kind of transformed since 2013? Is the racing better? Is it worse? Is it the same? And what are we missing?
It's hard because looking at the situation, wrecking people like that. I mean, we've had Johnson who wrecked in the duels, or wrecked people in the duels. So he wrecked Kyle.
He wrecked all 3 weeks.
Yeah. And then we have, there's a lot of chatter on the radios about Ricky Stenhouse, and he's getting really aggressive, pushing people. So, so we have the fight, right? The actual physical altercation this week. So when we look at all of these different things, clearly NASCAR is getting a lot of attention for it. So that's helping them in that regard. They're utilizing that to their advantage. Whether it's good press, bad press, any press is press. So it's helping them. The drivers be drivers. I mean, obviously NASCAR has taken a very tight approach to the safety of the drivers and not having added on the track. So it's interesting to see how the things have played out in the past, like that wreck, or how it's happening now. And maybe that's why NASCAR kind of just tossed a break to the fight that happened this Friday or last Friday, because I mean, they got to let the aggression out somehow. They didn't, as far as I know, no fines were issued, no real warnings. And instead, 3 teams are penalized $10,000 for a improperly secured lug nut or something like that. So NASCAR's got its own rules.
Safety.
What's that?
Safety.
Yeah. So it is that. It's just something like, I don't know. I'm not. It's hard because trying to take a stance on it, I don't want to say I don't like it, but at the same time, I don't want to say I do like it. There's different rules and regulations. Obviously, everybody has different stances on how they view physical altercations, whether that's good to go hit somebody if you're mad kind of thing. And to some extent, I agree. You don't want to just go, haul off and hit somebody just because they made you mad. I think what we have to look at is the context of this sport as well. These 30, 40-some drivers, they see each other every week. I mean, these guys aren't new to, everybody kind of knows how each other feels in the garage. Everybody knows what each other thinks in the garage. They're all in the sports. When things get heated, it's just like a family member. You're gonna get mad at a family member. Sometimes the siblings, you hit each other. That's kind of how you have to see the dynamic, and you can't see it from a different perspective and think of, these guys are positive role models, etc. Yeah, they are, but they're human. So that aspect has to go. And I guess it's better than taking it out on the track where, they could hurt fans or, more than 2 drivers at a time, or wreck millions of dollars worth of equipment. So wrecks are fun, but not at the expense of an actual physical, motive or a premeditated type of motive rather than a heated argument off the track. So
right. I think NASCAR realizes that they need to police it in a sense that they don't want to see anybody get hurt. I mean,
yeah,
they don't want to see you pull the Tony Stewart effect and go run over the guy.
Right.
They want
correct.
To see you too soon. They want to see the fights because it's what the fans want to see. I mean, people love them. I mean, even Kevin Harvick said fights are great. He likes fights. It's good for ratings, and as long as it doesn't get out of hand, I think it should happen. I'm a big advocate of it. I mean, is winning really important to these guys? If it is, they need to show it because far too often they just roll over and it's another Penske win because nobody would fight them. So I think it shows a lot about the character of the drivers when they show passion for the sport and, more importantly, show their desire to win. So I think some of the most popular drivers are ones that have shown strong emotions, outside of the car. Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon.
Tony Stewart. Yeah.
Tony Stewart, exactly. I mean, these are some of the sport's most popular drivers over the years, and they all were passionate about getting victory lane, and that's one huge thing that the sport's lacking right now. They're too nice.
Yeah.
They're all young. They're too nice. They're too cordial. I mean, it's not. I mean, there's literally more savage people out on the highway today than there is on the racetrack.
Yep.
That's a big piece that NASCAR's missing, and if they're smart, they will let Daniel Suarez and Michael McDowell do more of that and get their friends involved too.
Yep. So,
all that aside, when is their road trip going to be to Talladega and check out the new Infield?
That is that's a good question. I really wish they were doing it at Dover. That would be fantastic. We could do that. Man, that is impressive though. That whole Iron Alley, the indoor zone, or like the covered zone, the outdoor zone. Then they have the game
beer
zone.
garden.
Yeah, the beer garden. I mean,
what NASCAR fan doesn't want to go to the beer garden?
Right. I have a feeling that will be a very popular spot.
They probably should have made it bigger.
I was also thinking the same thing. I'm kind of wondering if they're allowing it in like the game area as well, like different. Yeah. But it does seem pretty family friendly, which NASCAR has always tried to be that type of sport. I'm curious to see. One of the things that I did notice that I was really curious to see is how the drivers and fans interact with that being two different types of garages. I don't know. They didn't distinguish what kind of garage was where, but one garage was on the one side, and then one garage was near the big like covered zone, which was really cool. But I'm like, man, if you're trying to like eat or watch the race, and then these cars are starting up, that's an interesting dynamic. Like all of a sudden you can't hear your friend, unless it depends on how like they soundproof it or whatever. But it would be really cool to see how that works. The fan driver interaction being that close with actual like seating and tables, that's interesting. So
no, and it's kudos to Talladega for doing that. I think that's going to be great for the fans. I think it's going to get a lot of people back into coming to the race. Really smart on their part, and so many tracks, and Dover is one of the worst about, letting people into the infield. Pit passes, it's gotten to the point where you have to be freaking Mike Helton to get a pit pass.
Yeah.
And I mean, sitting in the stands is fine and all, but, you drive all the way to the track, you travel all the way to the track, you get your overpriced ticket, you sit in the stand, you watch them go around for 4 hours, and then you leave and go home. What is the enticement to want to spend the money and come to a race when all you do is sit 500 feet away from anything exciting up on a hot bleacher? Whereas like in Talladega with the new Iron Alley and the big pavilion, it's like a park inside the racetrack where you can hang out. You can go walk right by the cars. You can see drivers. You can get their autographs. You can, get pictures with them. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good food down there, beer.
Yes. Yep.
This has got to be fun for the fans too. And I know you can't make the drivers be nice to the fans, but another thing that these NASCAR drivers need to realize is that they might be racing without the fans, but it would not be the money sport it is without the fans. And
correct. Yep.
They need to remember that because there's way too many arrogant drivers that just ignore the fans. And I understand a lot of them are on a schedule. They're trying to get from their RV to the car, from the garage to the driver's meeting, whatever the case may be. I get it. They're on a tight schedule, but man, they've got to be more cordial to their fans because they're the reason they're there. If it wasn't for them buying tickets, it wasn't them buying the Kyle Busch shirt.
Yep. Or the Chase Elliott hat.
The Chase Elliott hat. None of them be there.
Right.
So, I think that is really smart on Talladega's behalf to
I agree.
Allow the fans down there, and whether the drivers like it or not, give the fans what they want.
Yep.
And it's really cool. I really want to go down and see it. I agree.
I'm curious.
I think we hit the road and take Undisputed on the road for an episode.
That would be awesome. We really should. I also found it kind of cool how they snuck in the fact that they think Joey Logano is going to win Talladega. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but like the little yellow car seemed to be everywhere. So
I saw that too, and yeah.
But well, if Talladega is good at picking races, let's see what we've got this week. Who are our picks this week? What do we got? What you got lined up for pole?
Speaking of Talladega and Daytona, I feel like Fontana is probably the only other track that comes close to falling in that realm because it's such a fast track. It's such a wide track. They can race 4 and 5 wide there, and with this new aero package, that race is liable to be run a lot like Daytona or Talladega.
Absolutely.
But looking at the trends so far this year, Stuart Haas has been really strong on pole qualifying day. And more importantly, the Fords have been really strong. And one guy that's been pretty consistent every week, and I think it's just a matter of time before he gets a pole, is Clint Boyer.
Cool. Good choice.
Clint's been fast on Fridays, and for some reason I can just see him and his team putting it together this weekend, getting on the front row. So Clint Boyer is my pole pick.
That's a good pick. I think that's fair. I mean, he did really well last week. He's definitely getting up there. I think he's going to be one of the drivers that's going to be part of that 16 this year. I think we will see 16 different drivers, in my opinion. I think he will be one of them. I think he'll come later in the season as some momentum builds. But I do think as a pole, that's a solid pick for a pole.
He's a late bloomer.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Too bad he wasn't the one that you get bloomin' onions from. Harvick's the one you get that one from, but whatever. Should be the whole Stuart Haas team. So I went in the same camp, though. So I went Stuart Haas as well. I went with Harvick.
Okay.
I know he's itching for a win. He's going to be fast. I think he'll be able to put down the good numbers. He was able to do it 2 weeks ago in Vegas. We'll see. Hopefully he'll be able to pull it off in a pole for this weekend as well. So.
Well, out of all the tracks we've been to so far, Fontana and Vegas are probably the closest as far as layout. Obviously, Fontana is much longer. As far as the the banking, the way you run the track, it's very similar. So
yeah,
good choice. First stage, no offense to Clint Boyer, but if he does win the pole, I don't see him sticking around the top spot for very long.
Sure.
I think you'll see Penske come to life pretty quick. And this was hard for me because I obviously don't want to see either one of them do well. But I think Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano are both going to be a threat all day.
Yeah.
I just feel like Brad is going to outshow Joey here this weekend. So first stage, I think Brad Keselowski is going to take the first green, white check flag.
And I can totally see that. Like the momentum from these, we clearly are, doing this a lot more often now. We're seeing a lot of the same type of trends because I'm also in the Penske camp as well. He did pole last week, won stage 1, stage 2, which is kind of a trend. The last 2 races, the pole sitter has won stage 1, and then the stage 2 winner has won the race. So we've had at Vegas it was Harvick, then Joey. In Phoenix, it was Blaney, then Kyle. So I wanted to go with that, but I was thinking of 4 different drivers, and so I had to just go with my gut and go with 4 different. But I still did. I went to the Penske camp. I pulled up Blaney for stage 1. He's already won multiple stages throughout the year so far. He won one in Daytona, so he's won one in Phoenix. I totally can see him coming and getting stage 1 for Fontana.
Gotcha. A good pick. Going in a different direction, totally different direction. He has been pretty solid so far this year. Not as good as I thought he would be, but not bad. I think it's just a matter of time before he wins a race. He was very good at Las Vegas, almost won the race. He is the defending winner of Auto Club 400. I think you're going to see Mark Truex Jr. take the second stage.
Okay, yep. Yeah, we're definitely going in the same direction, and you'll see that in a second, because I've got Truex on here as well, but I don't have him at stage 2. I've got Larson at stage 2. If he can hold on to his equipment that long, he's going places, going fast. I don't know if he'll get a win this week, in my thought, but I've got Larson as stage 2 for this week.
Well, that's a good possibility because, as you were talking about our trends, pole winner and stage 1 winner are the same.
Yeah.
Stage 2 winner and the winner of the race are the same. So if that trend is correct, looks like my pick for winner might be right.
Okay, you going with Truex?
I'm gonna go Larson.
Larson, all right.
You have Larson for stage 2. I like Larson, and I picked him because he seems to be a latecomer. When he wins, he tends to be a latecomer, and I can kind of see the Penske cars, coming to life on Sunday, but really plateauing around halfway through the race, and just not really going away, but not really having enough speed to win the race. My vision is like a late race caution, not like a green, white, checkered late, but like a caution with around 50, 60 laps to go.
Yeah. Yep.
True. Larson's going to be running top 10, maybe even top 5 all day. Late race caution. Truex comes out of pit road first. Maybe somebody else, like Penske car, comes out second. Larson's third. Larson lines up behind Truex in line. He jumps down the bottom right on the restart, gets to second place, and he's just going to stalk Martin Truex Jr. for maybe 10, 15, 20 laps. Gets the lead, runs away with it, brings home the checkered flag.
Okay, that's actually a good prediction. I think that's solid.
Just Kyle Larson style.
It is Kyle Larson style. Like I said, if he can hold on the equipment, he runs that high side because that tends to be he's a fast and loose driver like dirt. He's on dirt, but he just translates it to asphalt. So I can totally see that happening. The funny part is I think I'm just on the other side of that coin. We're just flip-flopped because I've got Truex winning. And maybe he just can't. Maybe Larson can't pull it off, and Truex just holds him off. I don't really see that happening now when you pull that scenario up because most of the time it seems to be that second place lately has been pretty much bumper to bumper. But if they can get some clean air, I think Truex can just keep the lead. So it's going to be that close on both of them.
But here's one thing. Truex is a bottom guy. Truex likes the bottom of the track.
He does. Is on the top. So
Larson's, I think, as wide as that track is, Larson's going to be fast at the top. He's going to have some clean air, and he will get by Truex.
Yeah. No, that's a good. It's going to be interesting. I think you're going to be right. I'm leaning toward your prediction because I think it's a lot more solid. But it's funny that we have both Larson and Truex in that bubble. So we're getting smart at this.
Well, they're both recent winners at Fontana. Kyle Larson did finish runner-up to Martin Truex last year. So
sure. Yep.
They're both solid picks. Whether or not it'll be a repeat of last year where it's 1-2, 1-2, that's unlikely, but it seems like here in more recent years, NASCAR's maybe been becoming more and more predictable.
A little bit.
Part of its problem because you have a good idea who's going to win every week, but we could all be wrong. And
we could.
Mr. Superman, and I only call him this because that's who he had on the car the last time he won this race. Mr. Jimmy Johnson going to make his way back to victory lane as my long shot this week.
On a long shot?
On a long shot.
It's so funny because I picked the same one. There was 5 names that kept going through my head. Harvick, Blaney, Larson, Truex. Those are the 4 that need a win. But if there's one who could pull it off, it's Johnson as a long shot. I had Johnson too. We're getting really good at this. This is fun. It's fun, but it's also like, man, like, where are the other drivers at?
don't ever count out Mr. 7-time.
No. Nope.
He is never done. And I think he'll find his way back to victory lane soon enough.
Yeah, I agree. And if there's a track that he could, it'd be this one. We just did. It might not be. He might not be our top 4 people, but there is always a shot for him. So.
Right. I think you're going to see him and Larson, regardless to where they finish. I think you're going to see them both be strong on Sunday. And can you tell me what they have in common?
Besides Chevy?
Besides Chevy.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know they've won there a bunch. Well, at least Larson. Well, has Larson won there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't know. What you got?
They're both Southern California natives.
Okay, I was going there too. That was my third one. I should have just said it. I was like, I know they're both from there, so that's their hometown.
They're the hometown heroes, and that really seems to put an emphasis on a driver to win there. I mean, you could see, you could tell how badly Kyle Busch wanted to sweep the weekend back at Las Vegas. Not only because that's so impressive, but he wanted to win it for his fans there.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, when he won last week, what was the first thing out of his mouth when they interviewed him after his burnout?
This is for my fans. Yeah.
Well, that, and he said this made last week hurt less.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Even after a full week, dominated the race, won it, he's still lamenting from not winning at home. So, these guys like to win at home, so I think you're going to see the California boys race hard to try and win. I
agree. I completely agree. Man, this is getting so much fun. This season is heating up. Undisputed is heating up. Man, we have so many more episodes to go because we got a lot more racing to do. But we really appreciate you guys joining us for this episode. If you have any comments, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you, hear your thoughts, hear your opinions. And just what do you think of NASCAR in general? Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.